Okay, we'll call to order the special meeting of the Tracy City Council for Tuesday, September 19th, 2017. We have approval of the agenda, and I will say at the outset that initially that this meeting was set up purely for budget, to have a budget workshop, and the city administrator position was added to this agenda simply because of what happened last week. And the intent was of having this added to get approval to advertise for the position. The agenda that we were sent out last week didn't have a public comment period in it, but now I see that in there. My view is that since we started this and had this set up for purely budgetary reasons to talk about the budget as a budget workshop, that was the primary focus. And adding the city administrator position on the agenda was to simply get approval to post the position instead of waiting. So, unless someone else from the council wants to have a public comment period, what I would do is urge people to come to the regularly scheduled meeting that we have on Monday to have a public comment period, because this was designed specifically to discuss the budget. Now, I don't want to assume that you're all here to listen to what the budget is. But you could certainly stay for that if you'd like to. But I'd want to know if the other council members want the public comment period in there or not. But if not, then I would ask that be removed, and then we have the public comment period for whatever the public wants to talk about at the next council meeting. So if we want to spend 4 or 5 hours next council meeting at the public comment period, 5 minutes each, that's perfectly fine. But this was specifically designed to go through the budget, this meeting. Okay?
Well, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to know how the public comment got put on here. How can that get added to the agenda without the council adding it?
At the May 22nd meeting, this council approved a public comment to be added to all agendas.
So it's up to the council. If we want it on there, we can. But my view is that this is specifically designed to go through the budget and to advertise for the city administrator position. If we want to have, we'll have public comment at the regularly scheduled meeting. We spend as much time for that as possible.
I would make a motion to approve the agenda as originally written.
Yeah, I think they should have a public comment. As long as it said that and it was publicized and they're all here, I think that we should have a public comment.
That's not what the motion was.
I made the motion to approve the agenda as was originally written, which is the budget first and then the administrator was added on.
I would second that.
Wait, is this the originally how it was? Or
No.
is it
Yeah, if you look at your email, we got email on Thursday, it wasn't on there.
But we're not in discussion yet. We've got a motion and a second.
No, I get that. So it's a motion to go back to the agenda that we had initially emailed to us, which didn't have the public comment and had the proposed budget as item A, and then the city administrator position as item B.
Yep.
Is there any other discussion on that?
Yeah, I don't think that's right. What do you think?
I think we should go with what it was originally at.
Without the public comments?
Yep. Because it was set up for a special meeting to.
But it was publicized that way.
Not with a public comment.
Mr. Mayor,
Yep.
the original agenda, I guess I didn't see the original agenda, but she was saying that the administrator position was not on the original agenda when it was first sent out. So I guess they're approving that, then really the only thing that could be discussed tonight would be the 2018 budget.
Just get the email then.
Yeah, look at the email for the second one. The second one I got had it on there, didn't have anything about public comment. The one I received.
No, I think what he's saying is it didn't even have the city administrator thing on there, and I'd have to look at that again because I thought it was on there.
It was on there.
I've only got one that I know of. Dated September
Thursday.
14th at 4:50 p.m. Was there one that came out before then? Because that's the one that I'm looking at. And it's got 2 items on it.
Yep.
And that is approval of the agenda, mail and council communications, A, proposed budget, and B, discuss city administrator position, and then adjourn. So unless there was a different one, it was sent on the 14th of, September
No
14th
update.
at 4:50 PM.
No updates to it since then, that's why.
It must have got updated before it got put on the website then. The public comment.
All right, so what we got was, I'm glad I wasn't reading it incorrectly.
Yep.
That it had both of those issues on there and didn't have a public comment period on it. But like I said, I urge everybody to come on Monday. You can spend as much time as you want on Monday to talk about it, but tonight was specifically set up to talk about the budget and advertising for the city administrator position, to give approval for that. Okay, is there any other discussion? All those in favor of adopting the original agenda that we got emailed to us on Thursday signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Right?
We got.
Yep.
Shane, you want to do roll call? Or one of you?
Bill?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Tony?
I,
Dave? Aye. Pam?
Opposed?
Motion carries.
All right. So 3A, we had to talk about the budget, all right? Does anybody have, I know some of the department heads are here, Shane. I don't know if there's anything additional that you'd had to mention or bring up about what was proposed?
I guess what wasn't included in the proposal from the last meeting, there's discussion on National Night Out.
Oh, about, yep.
I know you mentioned $1,000 if needed.
Yep.
The other one was the flowers, the additional costs there. They really have never been budgeted, but if they're looking at adding to the highway, it's probably something we're gonna wanna put in here.
what line item was that? Do you remember what those parks and streets others?
I think it's 101, 431, 223 is generally where it comes out of. I think in the past, it has been taken out of unallocated too. But I guess either way, it's in the general fund.
What line?
It's generally under 101, 431, 223. And right now,
For the expenditure. And that particular line item shows a 10% reduction.
yeah, and that was from my department.
And that's where they paid for the downtown flowers out of that?
Normally, I guess in the past they have come out of unallocated too.
That was what, 5,500 for flowers? That was additional?
Additional. Yeah, I think we need to make room for that somewhere because it's important to show off what we can on 14 and do what we can. And what did Jeff at the meeting said that if it was a 5-year deal instead of 10, that he was agreeable to that? Am I remembering that right?
Wanted it at least 5,
Yeah, or at least a verbal agreement, but,
So we can,
and that's good, but then we're gonna have to shave something else. I mean, that's,
well, there's, yeah, we can, but if you set priorities, I think the beautification of your
Right,
town needs a top
right.
priority. So we can put that in there then on 101, 431, 223?
Yep.
All right. So my suggestion would be then we budget in there to include the extra cost for having the flowers on 14. that Jeff gave us at the meeting.
There's some other items too. There's discussion with the multipurpose center board about the internet. Right now they have no modem, or not modem, router there to access the internet, but we're still paying for internet there. I guess it's been some months before they even had a computer there. So I don't know what you guys' feelings on putting Wi-Fi in there or getting rid of the internet completely. They're not utilizing it. Right now it is budgeted for next year, but
Or just the cable service you mean, or the pay for the router?
for the modem, yeah, it's about 840 a year.
Why do they have it there?
What's that?
Why do they have it there?
They did have access, they had a computer there to access, for people to access the internet on, like a public computer.
They go to the library for that?
They
Kim,
couldn't,
well, Kim doesn't use it for anything, or
No.
Linda, either one of them.
Well, one of the things though, we were gonna market that as, a facility that a lot of people could use. I think having Wi-Fi is important,
yeah, and I remember that discussion too before, so that's why it kind of.
because
Right, and I
and
agree
we were
with
trying to have it more than just like a quote-unquote senior center, to have that as a community center. And I,
But the library does have it, right? So, I mean, that's also,
Can they pick it up over there off the library?
Too many brick walls.
That's,
But that's on there now, if you want to think about it.
you know what the additional cost is to have Wi-Fi over there then?
It'd be the same as what's budgeted now, but there'd be a reduction. I mean, you can buy a decent router for about $60, so.
Yeah, I would keep that in there, because I think we need to have that, have a Wi-Fi over there to get that, you know, whether or not it's utilized initially, but in order to market it as something other than just a senior center, we need Wi-Fi.
Okay.
So I would keep that in.
The other thing that wasn't budgeted was Wheels Across the Prairie contribution.
that's in there.
It was actually, it missed the last budget. It was after the preliminary last year.
Yeah, last year, but they've got in this one up to, they're up to 5,700 on it. Well, actually be
Remember-
5,000.
Huh?
No.
You remember which fund?
It is 101-442-321.
We have been giving 2,000, now we're talking about making it 5.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so,
That's in there.
okay. So those are the only notes I had as far as, if there's anything else in here is up for discussion.
And all the wages are reflecting the 4% increase.
3, I believe.
Really? Okay.
Okay. Shane, do you know any department have any changes to what's been presented?
I don't know of any. I guess I do have everybody's requests here, and to my knowledge, nothing's been changed from those requests. They were just transferred over. into
Okay.
The 2018 budget, so.
So is that true for any of the department heads here, that everything that we see so far in our paperwork is what it is?
You guys seen a copy of it?
I haven't seen a copy of the most recent one, but I think the EDA request for the same was for the contract reporting, for independent contractor, so.
Well, why don't we just
I
take a
look-
minute so you can look
Yeah.
at, make sure everything's cool, because that's the purpose of having this.
Yep.
Throw a wrench in.
You have an extra one, Diane?
Yeah, there's a bunch of extra ones here.
Then they both can read.
long as that's in there, I'm good. Should be,
You wanna double check?
and, yeah.
Now's the time.
Well, they're looking, Shane, in the 101-14-222,
413, you said?
101,
Yep.
418-223, on page 2. Yeah,
222?
yep. Why did that, do you know why that jumped?
I think that was to, start doing some repairs to the brick on the building,
Oh, the tuck point.
tuck pointing.
But there's nothing in there as far as reworking the offices. At least I couldn't find it, that's,
As far as putting the windows in,
yeah.
nothing in here. I guess that could be used for that. I know they budgeted, they're only increasing by 5,000, the way it looks from 2017, so. I guess I know the
Well,
windows.
it's closer to 18,000 what the increase is. On that 101-418. Went from 107.8 to 125.
You're on 418-222?
The higher, the entire, the bottom line is what I'm looking at,
Oh,
of that particular account, the
Okay.
general fund for
so you're just looking at
municipal building, the total.
418 in general then?
Right.
Okay.
It went from 107.8 to 125.
Yeah, so I think the tuck pointing would have been under 501, and then 222 would likely be the, DMB windows that they wanted to put in. I think those, probably the two biggest hits. And some of it was distributing the girls' wages on different departments, so there's a little fluctuation there too.
Yeah, I see, and that's why some of the numbers went down, and some of them went up. But
Yep.
but that doesn't reflect the, because we haven't negotiated the wage yet, so it doesn't reflect that. What I was thinking, you got most of that stuff put in there. We could approve the levy number, she's got it here, just make it an 11% as a preliminary levy to meet to the county. If there's any, and then work on reductions after that.
Because we can always go down, we
Right,
can't go
we
up.
can't go back up. And you're gonna see some going down, depending upon how the wage negotiation comes out. And we still don't know what our
Insurance.
health insurance is gonna cost, so a guy could actually put the preliminary levy at about 12 and a half, just to make sure I don't,
I can punch these numbers in, and then have it, we should be able to get it ready for the next agenda,
Okay.
so.
and then I think, just for expediency, a couple council members sit down with the department heads on a one-on-one and go over it with them and make sure we, what's needed and what's wanted, and bring that back. It certainly would save a lot of time, and you get better interaction, better numbers, so. I didn't see, there was a couple other ones that stood out that don't need to go up as far, it's just my opinion, but I mean, council wages don't need to go up.
So the department heads, everything's cool, with nothing changed? Alright. Yeah, so then, if there's anything else, Shane, then we can go individually through what we got, so we might as well just start off on page 1 if anybody has anything.
You're going through the expenditures?
Yep, page 1 through expenditures. Tony had mentioned about the wages, I think that was in there, I don't think necessarily it's an increase to the salary, I think it's just to set aside in case we got special meetings. I think that's what she had that in there for. So the salary's the same, it's just budgeted in case we gotta call special meetings. The one I did have though for that section is 241, $1,000 for travel and conferences. I think we had that in there previously because of new council members being available for training, but I think for this budget year, we don't need that.
You don't need that in there.
So I think we can get rid of $1,000. If there's something that somebody wants to go to, they can pay for it, but more than likely you can do these things online anyway and you don't incur a cost. So we can take that $1,000 out. Anybody, anything else? On page 1, we're specifically looking at the expenditure budget for 2018 on page 1. Anything else on there? Okay, flip over to 2. And we talked about 418 already. Is there anything else you want to add to that, anybody? All right. Anything else on page 2? All right. Page 3.
Means I wasn't on when they decided to do this down on 428. I know we don't have anything for other contractuals because of that loan. Are we paying, putting that money back into that fund for that we gave the money to the ambulance for? You know, I don't know how to say it. Dale, help me out here.
Which fund do we?
It's under the
101,
428 for that loan for the ambulance, and we weren't gonna pay them anymore, but are we setting that payment money aside to replenish what we spent out of that hospital fund or not? I'm just curious to build that back
What the
up.
original intention was,
What?
that was what the original motion was.
That's what I thought, and then I'm sitting here and I don't see
There
anything
was a
for,
lump sum paid up, and then the budget amount was gonna stay the same to replenish the fund, so that it was still in the budget when the payments had to start again.
right,
But there's nothing in there.
we're not transferring anything out of there for that.
I'm not seeing anything in the general fund transfers out.
And that's been, what, 2 years now?
Yep, it wasn't budgeted last year either.
So should that be the 14,000 that was under 16?
Well, like, that was the intent when they made the loan, was to, you know, take that payment that they were gonna give to the ambulance and put it back in the fund that they took the money from for the loan from the rig.
All right. Figure 14,000 into that then for this year, to budget that. Because ultimately that money's gonna go back to the hospital.
Yeah, it should be 14,000, then transferred to the hospital fund.
Yep.
On the street and parks, for the temporary and part-time,
Yep.
we had 10 budgeted, we've used 36, and now we're budgeting 17.
That must be different.
431, 103.
431.
I think that was to add another part-time employee. Which I haven't decided yet if we need or not, so,
Okay.
So that's a possible.
yeah.
We understand that hospital thing.
They had a fund from the sale of the hospital.
That was set aside specifically for, one particular, monies was designed for health-related type initiatives in the community. And we had decided to give that money to, buy a new ambulance. Because it was sufficiently, in our estimation anyway, health-related. So that's how it's from the sale of the hospital, is how we got that.
So where does this 14,000 go back into then?
Goes back into that pool.
Go back in that pool.
That
But
we
the
use.
hospital doesn't get anything,
No.
right? Okay.
No, we can use it for, well, we have money set aside for the capital improvements that they wanna do. That's different than this.
This was a portion of it they were supposed to use.
This was, I think, was what, $200,000? $200,000, I think, for health-related.
Something like that. Or a
So-
little more.
It's a separate fund than the capital improvement fund.
No, but I thought when the sale of the hospital was done, we still have to do the capital improvements for it?
No, we're not paying for it.
No.
We had it set aside through the sale.
Mm-hmm.
They come back in, if they need something, they get approval to use the money. We're not paying any extra at all.
Clear as mud.
Yeah.
That was a part of the sale.
So the, part of the agreement was that fund would be there in case they
In
needed
case
it.
they needed something?
So
And they-
neither one can, I mean, yeah, it's not technically our money to use for any.
No, it was, I think,
Budgetary
if
items.
memory serves me right, the sale was, of the hospital was for 1.2 million. The 2 was given to the city to do it on discretion.
Hospital-related
Hospital,
initiatives, which is
health-related
why, for the ambulance.
Once I get that part.
The 1 million, the city gets to hold and collect interest on, and pays a portion back on the capital improvements in the hospital, because it benefits the city. So, we benefit based on the.
And once that 1
Drawn
million's
on
done,
that.
it's done.
When they spend it all, there ain't no more.
And based on the capital improvements, that was going to be probably like maybe 2 projects
Yep.
with what they had to do. It's not that much money. Okay, so then Shane, you said for 103, then it's probably gonna drop. You just have to decide whether or not you wanna hire a part-time?
Yeah.
Okay. Would it drop back to what you had budgeted this year?
Likely, yeah.
Okay. Page 4.
Do you have any clue yet, Bill, on the health insurance numbers? That's your, okay.
They haven't been released yet.
Page 5.
The wages just get reallocated from somewhere else for the airport?
They get moved around based on averages throughout the year before. They fluctuate a little bit year by year.
All right, 6. All right, 7, next page. 8.
That big jump on the airport one, that's, would cover with grant and FAA matching funds is where that's coming from, right?
The 410 fund? Yep. We had a budget and then it's, reflected in the revenue side.
On page 9.
The wastewater one goes away in 18 because it's all covered already. Making sure I have that.
The end of the bond section. Debt service.
Yeah, I was just making sure that it's right in the head.
All right, 10.
What's the one under the liquor store, Shane, for the 491321 other, under the liquor store, 601? Do you know?
Which page is that one on?
It's on
11.
page 11. The liquor store,
Other control.
491321 other contractual.
The pages are different here.
Are they? Okay.
Is 601 491 321.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm just wondering what that jump is for on that.
601, 491.
321.
And you don't have to know on that. I mean, if we'll check with Sandy, yeah, yeah. I mean, it doubled. I'm just curious to know what that,
Well, it's partly maybe because of what was budgeted this year is only $2,000 and we're already up to 2,800. Yeah,
Right,
I
but
know that, yeah, what
we
is it?
budgeted 2,000, it's up to 28, but then it's still at 41.
And the previous year was $6,000.
Yeah, so maybe it's something that's gets paid at year end, I don't know, but.
Wonder if that would be credit card fees. That would be something like that.
Don't they have their own account for that? Just credit card debits. I thought that was under service fees.
Well, before we finalize it, we can find that out from Sandy.
I
what
can
that
check with
is.
Sandy on that.
Well, that fee's based on the number of transactions, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the credit cards fall under the service fees though.
I would think other contractual, wouldn't that be like if somebody had to come do something there?
Yeah.
Like plumbing or electric or
Cleaning service or
And that's
something?
so, yeah. Verify that.
Okay, anything else on page 11? Twelve. $13.
That other transfer out on the surcharge fund, 603, the 493, 401. That jump, where are we transferring to, Shane? I know it goes back into one of the other.
What do you got in yours? 603, so we've been back a page. At 31,000?
Yeah.
All over the board on that thing.
I think that was to establish that,
That for the storm sewer improvement fund establishment, or?
that was to establish that other fund, I believe, but I can look into that.
Yeah, I'll check on that, find out. Okay.
So for the garbage, did they pay a fee for us to do the billing and all that stuff?
We contract with them, but
They reimburse
we get,
some cash.
I'm assuming we get some kind of fee for
When they're billing?
Yeah, we give some cash, and then they pick up the trash for the city buildings at no charge.
Okay, 13.
So nice to, be nice to have them numbers.
Yeah, and the reason that went up there, because they reflected the actual costs when my guys set up and tear down spring and fall out there. So it got reflected all the way across the board through the PRA, the FICA, Medicare, work comp, and then health insurance. So yeah, it's kind of the distribution of the labor.
On the aquatic center licensing.
That's under Aquatic Center.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Thinking license.
You're thinking licensing, weren't you? 470% increase is,
Size of
yes.
All right, page 14.
Well, and keep in mind, that number is based off of current, not.
Right.
And we know what that cost is through the end of the year, so that 470 isn't it? Nor would any of the wages or any of that, because they're still being paid.
Yep. Interest payment for the utility and sewer is just those old ones coming due, right?
And some of the new stuff, I think.
And some of the new ones, yeah.
Shane, do we have enough of the radio read meters now, or we still gotta buy some more of them?
We're less than 100 left to buy. I'd say there's like 80. There's actually a rural water that switched to a different style radio read, and they have some that haven't even been installed that are same as what we use. So I haven't got a cost back from them, but the way it sounds, they're gonna sell it wherever we need cheaper than what they paid for it. So
Why not keep them in stock spares, I assume?
half a dozen.
So we shouldn't get many of them.
No.
Agent fee.
Yeah, that was my question, just for my own edification. 608-498-620. What's a fiscal agent's fee? I mean, I can figure it out with the title to some extent, but why does it go from like 100?
That's for the audit. What I'm assuming is it wasn't broken up into
Looks like they've been spreading the cost around per department, or per fund.
There's gonna be a lot of that.
Yeah.
Oh,
A lot of it, the admin was getting hit for it all the time. So,
okay,
she distributed a lot of that throughout the different departments.
okay. So it's just basically the fee for the annual audit.
Right.
Yep.
Anything else on 14?
The last one, the equipment and improvement on municipal building, that's 16, what's that?
Copy machine replacement.
Gotcha.
There's something else. I can
Okay.
look that up though.
Oh, that's fine, that's,
That's a lease payment, right? Or is that-
We purchased this one here.
Oh.
Cheaper to purchase.
All right, 15? All right,
Steve, I got a thing on 15 if I can. On the bottom, depending on how you guys fill the EDA director position, there are different trainings or learning opportunities for regional stuff. So if that's something that you want to be able to, you know, send them to the annual Economic Development Association.
wait a second, I can't hear you. Excuse me, excuse me.
Economic, oh.
I can't hear.
Just a consideration, since when we did the budgets, it's structured, or our plans are different now. For like the travel conference, one thing that Marshall had sent me to in the past was Economic Development Association of Minnesota. I want to say it's like $500 or $600, but it's 2 days.
Okay.
And it's really good information, really good training. Depending on who you bring on board for the EDA position, it might be good to budget for that if you have room for it in your budget.
So it's how much did you say?
I think the registration's like $300 or $400 plus the hotel room, so if you budget 1,000, it should be more than plenty.
Okay. And I don't know if you know off the top of your head, you're able to do that online?
To register online?
No,
Oh,
no, I
the
mean like
courses?
the course.
No, it's like interactive with panels and breakout sessions and,
Okay, so that was 1,000 you said? roughly?
yeah, that should cover it if, yeah.
All right. So if you thought it was worthwhile then?
I have, yep, I've had the last 2 years and it's worth it.
Okay. Just for the preliminary budget, figure that in for 806, 417, 241. Budget in $1,000. $16. $16 is the next page. Are we done with 15? Okay.
Well, I got one question now that the numbers didn't jive to me. That infrastructure replacement reserve, 53,760 is a new levy amount. But in the budget, it's listed at 76,160.
Are you looking at this sheet?
Yeah.
That's where I get the 57 number, that's what we
This
passed
one.
for that,
The 53,760?
right. That's, we passed it on that annual on their property tax for the infrastructure replacement reserve, but now we're putting in 76,160.
Where do you get that 76,160 at?
very last
Yeah.
one. 433.
433 account.
76, 160, you said?
Yeah, I'm just, don't understand why the numbers don't jive.
I'll look into that one.
Yeah, that's, I know it's easy to miss numbers, and then I'd rather come up,
Take me a while to look for it.
yeah, that's no problem.
810.
All right. That's that. Does anybody have anything else? As far as the budget? All right, next is the city administrator position. We had the resignation of Madonna last week with the note that we got sent out by Shane that her last day is October 2nd, and she's on vacation until then. So we need to authorize the posting of the position. Suppose,
I would make a motion that we accept the resignation that was written on a post-it note and given to Shane.
any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Motion carries. We have to post for the position and determine how long we want it open for.
Mr. Mayor, the last time we did this, one of the proposals that I brought before the board was that we hire someone to help us do this, a professional. And at that time, we had just initial discussions with the South Central Service Co-op out of Mankato, a gentleman by the name of Wendell Sandy, who does this for cities and counties throughout the state of Minnesota. And I would like to see that person come in and present to the council and inform us on what their services are and what they can do and what they've done for other cities. So I would make, I'm not saying we can't post it, I'm not saying that, but prior to doing that, I would make a motion that we at least look into that and see what kind of services that firm can offer.
Are they just for getting candidates, or are they for actually contracting to do city administrator work?
Well, they actually seek out the candidates, interview, screen, vet the candidates prior to coming forward.
And we just set how many we want, 3 candidates or 4, whatever it
I'm
is.
assuming so, but we'd have to ask them. I mean, I think first we should bring them in and see what they have to say.
I don't have a problem with somebody giving a proposal.
Can you be here Monday, any clue?
Can we see if they can come Monday?
Yeah, and I certainly can give them a call. I know you're busy.
It's West Central Service Co-op.
South Central Service Co-op. I have the contact information from last time, so.
And they're out of Mankato.
But we can talk about that later. I make that motion.
Motion made and second. Any discussion for that proposal?
So do we want, doesn't matter to me. I'll certainly call, or we can have Shane call, doesn't matter.
Well, if you got the contact, Bill, I mean, you can call him. I mean, that's fine by me.
Find out give him the dates of our next.
Yeah, if they could
council
come on
meetings.
Monday, that'd be helpful.
Okay.
You wanna just let us know if you.
I'll call him tomorrow and then let you know right away what he says. And if they have any information to send out ahead of time, I'll have him email that. That way we've got it for our packets and.
Just, why don't you send it to Diane? I have a training tomorrow.
Okay.
Picking a time, Bill, remember we got the 2 public hearings on
Yeah, that was the next thing. What time do we?
7.
7 o'clock?
All right, any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And then also, we can certainly advertise for the position. I think we have the description for the position from the last time that we advertised, so I think we can just basically keep it the same. I don't know, I mean, I don't want to keep it open too long. What did we have it last time? Was it like 4 weeks, I think?
You can put it on the league website.
Put it on the league website and just put it on until position's filled. That way you're not committed to anything, either with
I think
the
the
service
minimum-
group or.
Minimum's 2 weeks, so.
Well, yeah, I understand until the position's filled. I think I'd like to have an end date. I mean, if we're gonna, I'd like to be able to have somebody by the end of the year here. And I think with our time frame here, that's doable. So my suggestion would be, if we put it on the league website and advertise it, we could have it open from, depending on what day it gets there, from September 20th and have it closed October 20th.
Are we gonna be able to start advertising it before that people come that
We're
bill?
gonna put it on the league.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll probably be Thursday before it gets there, but.
Yeah, so that's fine. Just keep it open until October 20th,
You can do it online.
4:30.
I won't have access to a computer.
All right, do we have a motion then to have this advertised, the city administrator position advertised until October 20th using the same description that we used the last time?
I'd make that motion.
Motion made and second. Any discussion?
That's only, we just put it on the league, right? Not print ad?
I think it has to be in the paper too.
Okay,
I would put it in the paper, at least the Herald.
just so you know. Okay,
So the paper and the league website.
Yep.
yeah. Just so everybody's clear on its way.
What are our meeting dates in October? 9th is Columbus Day.
Ninth and 23.
Is Columbus Day a?
No, we're here.
Okay,
Only in Canada.
okay, so I'll ask him, about the 25th or the 9th.
Yeah, hopefully he can come Monday. That'd be ideal.
Yep.
All right, any other discussion? All in
I
favor?
have a question about that.
Go ahead.
I mean, we can do this, but I just have, so if they're gonna come on
We
the
gotta finish this.
9th, and it's already being done advertised by the 20th, what, I don't get what the good that is.
Well, they can work fast.
They have a pool.
I mean, but I thought that was part of their services, that they're supposed to be doing all this advertising and all that.
Well, they could, well, I think, because ultimately, we don't know whether or not we're gonna contract with them. So instead of waiting until hearing their proposal to say yay or nay, you might as well do something as a backup. Because I just assume, advertising on the league is free, isn't it?
Yeah.
So basically, the only thing we're out is putting in the paper.
Paper.
And that's,
Most of those recruiting services have a pool of applicants that, and they fit them to the communities that they're applying for, so
And then if we do use them, anybody we have, we can
just
give it around.
all right? All right. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I can
Motion made in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned.